Good morning, friends, and welcome back, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Tiffany. Happy Monday. So it is Monday. It's about 12 o'clock, and I have been in a major back-to-school planning mode the past few days. So I did not vlog yesterday, but I did a ton of school planning yesterday, which is kind of funny because I kind of thought I was done planning because we use unit studies in our homeschool from either Gather Around Homeschool or Campfire curriculums, and I had already picked out what unit studies we're doing this entire year. So I was like, there, school's done, we're planned. But then mom guilt started sinking in, and I started thinking about the things that I want my children to learn this year, and I knew that I needed to be the one to plan that, obviously. Anyway, so all that to say, I spent multiple hours over the past 2 days kind of putting some things together that I'm really excited about. So the very first thing just delivered to my door from Amazon. Will is going to be doing this book, The Fallacy Detective. It is 38 lessons on how to recognize bad reasoning. He's going to be doing this book with the kids once a week. So just one short lesson a week, but it's like logic and reasoning, and I figured he would be the perfect one to do that with them because he is just so smart and great with his words and great at critical thinking. My battery's dying. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So he is just great at critical thinking and stuff like that. So I thought he would be great at teaching the kids this book. So he had agreed that once a week he'll do a lesson with them. So that's the first thing that we're implementing that is new. The second thing, I really wanted them to do a digital citizenship and like how to be safe on the internet, how to be smart and like a good friend on the internet, and how to recognize cyberbullying, all of the things that fall under the digital citizenship sort of umbrella topic. I wanted them to learn. So they're getting older, they're going to be exposed to more. As far as, they don't have social media. They have YouTube on their iPads, but we monitor things. Obviously, I'm a fan of YouTube. I'm on YouTube myself. But I wanted them, now that they're getting a little bit older, so Alice is 12 and she's going into 7th grade. Jackson is 13 going into 8th grade. So this is Jackson's last year in middle school and Alice's second year. And I just think it's about time that we do like some dedicated instruction on how to be safe on the internet and how to utilize the internet in ways that make sense and are helpful and all of that. So I went down a rabbit hole. I found a few things on Teachers Pay Teachers, which is a website. It's a free website where teachers can upload different curriculum that they've designed, different worksheets, different studies. Some of them are free, some of them you have to pay for. So I did find a digital citizenship packet of sorts, like just a small intro to that for like $5. So I purchased that, and then along that same topic, I was like, they don't really know how to use email because they're not in public school. They don't have to use email for anything. They each have an email address that I made for them when they were babies, because when they were little, funny side story, I would send monthly update letters, like as they were getting, like throughout their first year of life, I would send monthly update letters to their email so that when they get older, they can look back and read these emails from their mother. It was an idea that I had seen floating around on the internet back 13 years ago when Jackson was born. Anyway, all that to say, they do have email addresses. They will change them eventually because the email addresses that they have are very specific to me sending letters to them. But they do have an email address, and I want them to learn how to log into an email, send an email, reply to an email, all of that. So I also downloaded from Teachers Pay Teachers an email etiquette course for like $5. So we're going to do those. That's what we're going to start the year with. And then I continued down the rabbit hole, and there is a website. Let me look. I think it's Common Sense Media. No, where's my mouse? Let me pull it up because I looked at so many so many websites about all this stuff. So the website, yes, it's Common Sense citizenship.org, and they have a digital citizenship curriculum on there for K through 12. And they have it divided to where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For each grade level, they have 6 different topics that they cover that is aimed towards that grade and age. So the topics for each level, there's a topic, healthy habits, privacy and safety, digital footprint and identity, relationships and communication, cyberbullying and online harms, and then information and media literacy. So you have those 6 topics, and then there's like a 45-minute to an hour-long class for each of those topics, and they change per grade level because it's geared towards that age, if that makes sense. So I actually went through and chose some of the topics even from the lower grades, and I'm going to make this into like a full, I think this carries us out. I made this into a full curriculum. So we're going to be doing this digital citizenship stuff all the way through November to really dive deep into it. So I used a lot of the topics on this commonsense.org, and it's under the For Educators tab, and then there's a digital citizenship tab. Anyway, it's amazing. It's all put together already. You can do the shortened lesson or you can do the full lesson. There's videos, there's slideshows, there's activities. So some of the topics that we're going to be utilizing, just to kind of share with you, like at the 6th grade level for healthy habits, it's a lesson on finding balance in the digital world. How do we balance digital media use in our lives? Highly important, because we all spend way too much time on social media and devices and the internet and all of that. So I think we want to create healthy habits, right? Another topic for digital footprint and identity is, who are you online? What are the benefits and drawbacks of presenting yourself in different ways online? Those are the 6th grade level. At 7th grade, the healthy habit is my media use, a personal challenge. What is your strategy for finding media balance? So as they get older, the healthy habits, it's all still, the topic is the same, healthy habits, but the class changes. I just thought it was super interesting. How does social media affect our relationships? Digital media and your brain. Be aware of what you share online. How do you protect your privacy? Social media and digital footprints. How does using social media affect that? There's one on sexting and relationships at the 8th grade level. What are the risks and potential consequences of this? Highly important. I mean, super touchy subject, I'm aware, but our kids are being, not like my kids right now, but like our kids in this generation are being exposed to so much in the realm of extortion. You see it in the news weekly about kids being extorted for AI images that have been created on their behalf, that is not really them, but the kid doesn't know how to like approach it with their parents, and so then they're drowning in this situation on their own. It's so disturbing and sad and heartbreaking, and I want my kids to have the knowledge and wherewithal to know that, number one, how they should be behaving online as they are getting older, and number two, that if something like that were to happen, that they have the that they know they can come to us in a situation and that they will not be in trouble. I've always been very open with our kids about all sorts of topics, and they know that they can come to us with the little things and the big things. And so far, like I said, Alice is 12, Jack is 13. They have shown that they trust us in that relationship. And I never want that trust to be broken. I want that to grow as they get older, because as they get older, the situations they're going to find themselves in are going to be more difficult, potentially, than they are now at their ages of 12 and 13. And I want them to know that Will and I are always here for them if something were to happen, or if they find themselves in a situation that is less than desirable. So anyway, all these thoughts going through my head as a mom, number one, but then as their homeschool teacher, how do I teach them these things in a safe environment to where they feel safe, right? So all that to say, we are going to be doing some digital citizenship and like online safety classes. along with the logic and reasoning course. I think I'm excited about it. So then the next thing that I did, I used ChatGPT to help me develop a course. I couldn't find anything that I liked for like within our budget online to help teach them how to use Google Sheets and Google Docs. I was gonna have them learn how to use just Office, like Microsoft Office in general, like Word and Excel and all of that. But I feel like this day and age, most people are gravitating towards Google Sheets and Google Docs because it's more widely accessible. It's easy, you can easily share it with people. So I want them to know how to use those programs, because where they're not in school, they used Google Classroom a little bit during COVID when they had the shutdown, like when the schools first shut down, but they were in first and second grade at that point. Then we started homeschooling right after COVID anyway, and so they don't, it's my fault, but they don't use these programs for anything because it's just not something that we implement into our homeschool. And it's dawning on me that I want them to know these things, so it's my responsibility to teach them, of course. So I use ChatGPT to help me develop an 8-week course on Google Docs. They'll do it twice a week. An 8-week course on Google Sheets. They'll do it twice a week. And it came out with an outline on like how to use it. It has an activity for each lesson. ChatGPT, I'm finding, is super helpful in some cases, and this being one of them, because like I said, I could not find what I wanted within my price. Like there's obviously, I can do out school classes, but some of those classes are like $50 a week per kid, and I'm not paying that. So if I can find a workaround, right? So I did use AI to help me develop a lesson plan for Google Sheets and Google Docs, and then we still had a few weeks, like that'll take us through a majority, let me see, Google Sheets, that takes us all the way through March, learning those Google Sheets and Google Docs. And then I was like, well, we go to school through May, so what else can I implement into to fill that gap? Like once we're done with the digital citizenship, Google Sheets, Google Docs, there's going to be a gap in our day-to-day schedule. What can I fill that with? And the other thing that came to mind was how to use Canva, which is, you know, you use it for graphic design, posters, business cards, letters, images, graphics, etc. So I want them to know the basics of Canva. So again, I used ChatGPT to come up with an 8-week course. No, I did a 6-week course. 6 weeks on how to use Canva twice a week. And it'll teach them different things in each lesson. And at the end of each lesson, they will put those new, that's what I'm looking for, skills to work and make like a graphic. So it might teach them how to use text and change the font and the color, and then they have to use that information to make like a graphic that says whatever. I don't know. I was so impressed with the lesson plans that ChatGPT came up with, and I'm excited. So that's what I've been doing the past 2 days, is really nailing down our back to school plan, I guess. We go back to school in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today actually. So today is July 28th. We start school on August 11th. We were going to start next week, but next week Alice and I will be in Michigan for my niece's baby shower on Sunday. And then on Tuesday, I'm taking her to see Beetlejuice the musical in Detroit at the Fisher Theater. So they are traveling their last few dates before they go back on Broadway in New York. One of the dates was in Michigan. It just so happened to be while we were going to be in town anyway, and many of you know we made that happen for her. So she's super excited. So anyway, we get back from that trip on Wednesday, and I was like, and then Jackson has a dental procedure on Thursday, and I was like, it's no point starting school that week, so I just pushed it out until the following week. So we go back August 11th. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know that the kids are. I was kind of not dreading it, but I was like not wanting summer to end, and now I'm looking forward to it because I'm so excited to teach the kids these like new things. And our unit studies that we are doing, we are starting with Campfire Curriculum has a unit study called The Mysteries that History Holds. and it's all about mysteries and history. So like there's a lesson on the lost colony of Roanoke, there's Skeleton Lake, the Beale ciphers, the Tunguska Invader, the Bermuda Triangle, Alcatraz, President Kennedy's assassination, Oswald and the CIA, D.B. Cooper. There's 12 different, I named most of them, but there's 12 different lessons. So that's what we're gonna start our year with. So I'm super excited. Hopefully that'll get them like reined in and kind of like being able to look at history forensically and like just kind of, I don't know, I'm excited. But now I've been rambling for 15 odd minutes, but that's what I've been up to. Planning the kids' school year. And then while I'm on the same topic, the other things that we'll be doing, so each day we will watch World Watch News. It's a paid news program with a Christian worldview. We start our day with that. So they wake up, they come out to the living room, have breakfast, and we start our day with news. Then we will do our devotional, which I am using Not Consumed Ministries, some of their 1 month devotionals. The first one we're doing is called Fear Not. We will do History's Mysteries, our unit study. We will break into that. Usually each lesson will be spread across 2 days because it is kind of long and it incorporates, you have the lesson itself and then you have what's called core connections, and that incorporates things like English, language arts, science, history. Obviously History's Mysteries is already heavy on history, but incorporates all the other subjects outside of math. It incorporates it into the core connection so that you can use it as a well-rounded full curriculum. We will do a family read aloud. The first one we're doing is called Restart by Corman is the last name. I forget what the first name of the author is. Let me look. But I heard that's the wrong spreadsheet. Too many spreadsheets. I've heard that this book is really good for this age. Gordon Corman. So Restart by Gordon Corman is the first read aloud that we're going to be doing together. We will do our email etiquette class. Will do the fallacy detective with them once a week. They have handwriting. 3 days a week they'll do handwriting out of the Good and the Beautiful Level 5 cursive handwriting book. And then 2 days a week I'm going to have them do a journaling prompt, just like a 5-minute journaling prompt in a notebook, just so my kids do not care for handwriting. They don't like writing. Alice, as you know, is very creative and she likes crafting and stuff like that. She is not a writer. Jackson avoids writing at all costs. So because of that, I want to make sure that they're getting some writing, obviously. So they'll do journaling twice a week and then cursive handwriting 3 times a week. Typing, they're going to do just 10 minutes a day on a typing program online just to increase their fluency. And then they each have their own math curriculum. Jackson uses teaching textbooks and he's going to be finishing his pre-algebra class. Alice is always up in the air. Math with Alice is sometimes a struggle. She does not love it. She does not love it. So I'm trying to find, we're currently using Master Books with her. That's what we ended last year on, was Master Books math workbook, which has worked well for her because they're very short, concise lessons and she doesn't get burnt out on them. But this year I just purchased a new book called, where's it at? Beyond Personal Finance is the website that I purchased it from. Yeah, beyondpersonalfinance.com. And they have a curriculum for tweens, ages 8 to 12. It is a beginner's guide to the future. So then they have one for teenagers, which is 13 plus, that talks about budgeting and finance for the rest of their life, is what it says. So the beginner's guide that I got her says, before personal finance follows the style of our popular teen program, but is tailored specifically for ages 8 to 12. Through a fun, interactive workbook, your student will simulate ages 13 through 22 to teach them about money, choices, and their future. So it has, I don't remember how many lessons. I think it's a 10 weeks. Yeah, it's a 10 lesson workbook. So it'll last about 10 weeks. And it breaks each week up into 4 different topics. So the first day she will do the teaching. The second day is an activity. The third day is called Scene, where you implement it into like a real life scenario. And then there's a quiz on the 4th day. So I'm excited for that workbook for her. I think it'll be fun. Like the very first lesson that's in that book, is planning a planning a party. You have a $500 budget and you have to plan a party, and you have to pick and choose from a list of like options and items that have cost associated with them, and put together a party and stay within your budget. So I thought that would be fun for her. I think it's more real. I think with her, as we move through her middle school and high school years, doing more real world math is going to be the route that we go. I don't foresee her getting into like the higher math levels like Jackson will, and they're just different in the way they learn, and that's okay. Like Jackson, I can see him going all the way through pre-calculus if need be. Alice, on the other hand, we will have her do some pre-algebra and like intro to algebra or foundations of algebra and see how that goes. But I'm really wanting to enforce real world math with her, and Jackson as well. I might incorporate some of that with him as well, because I want them to know like how to budget, how to write a check, how to balance a checkbook, how to figure out interest on a loan, all of these real life scenarios that we weren't necessarily taught in school. I had to take a special class in high school that was geared towards that in order to learn those things, and it wasn't required. So I feel strongly about teaching real life consumer math to my children. That's our school year. That's what we're going to be doing. Our unit study will change every 5 weeks or so. So where we're starting with histories, mysteries. The other unit studies we're going to do this year, we're doing Campfire Curriculum's Titanic unit study, which I'm super excited about. We may try to go down to Pigeon Forge and do the Titanic Museum when we finish that one. We have been before, but the kids were younger, and I think it would just put things in a whole new perspective after doing a 5-week deep dive into the Titanic, if we're able to go to the Titanic Museum. It's about 3.5 hours away from us, so we could do it as a day trip. It would make it a long day, but we could do it as a day trip or stay one night in a hotel down there and then come home. And then we're going to be doing Gather Around Homeschool's Oceans unit study, which is 20 lessons. That takes us through into November. Where's my calendar? Takes us into November, and then once we finish Oceans, we'll do a few weeks of Christmas Around the World to kind of get us through December. We take much of December off, and Will has vacation in December, but we're going to do Christmas Around the World to kind of fill in some of those days. That is from Gather Round. That we're going to do when we come back in January. We're going to start Campfire Curriculum's Zoologist unit study, which Alice is super excited for. That leads us into Gather Round's Human Body study. And then Gather Round also has an Unsolved Mysteries, which is kind of like Campfire's Histories Mysteries. They have one called Unsolved Mysteries that we're also going to do because the kids were intrigued and wanted to do both of them, so why not? And then we will end our year with Gather Round Psychology unit. So lots of variety this year that I'm very excited about. And yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready, friends. Let's go. The kids are not ready. They would love summer to last longer. Alice is looking forward to fall. Like, she's ready to see the leaves change in the cooler weather, and I cannot blame her. I'm also ready for fall, but I'm also trying not to rush through seasons. I'm trying to embrace each season of life and season of weather, and enjoy what we can out of each season, because as I told Will last night, we only have Jackson for 5 more years of like schooling. Till he turns 18. Hiccups, excuse me. And that was really eye-opening to me and very sad. So I'm trying to embrace and like just live a slower existence with my family. We've been doing a lot of family movie nights lately, and it's been really nice. Just time together. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. I was going to turn this into a daily vlog. However, it's long now, and all I've done is talk about homeschool, so I think I'm just going to post this as a homeschool update for those of you who are interested in that. If you've gotten this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. As you can tell, I'm just very excited to get going in a few weeks and bring you along with us once we get back into the swing of things. If you have questions on anything that I talked about, I am more than happy to talk about it and answer your questions. I know not many of you or not many of you, I know not all of you homeschool, obviously, but if you have questions on how we do things, I'm an open book, or I try to be at least. But thanks for coming along on another one. I'm going to turn around and actually start vlogging for the day after I edit this video, so I'm going to continue vlogging for today, Monday. This will just be a bonus video. So thanks for coming along. Drop a comment, share some love, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye.